In honor of Father's Day, I wanted to dedicate this poem to all the wonderful fathers who have served in that role and have taken that role seriously. Even if you've been a single mom, a grandpa, somebody who has stepped up, maybe a stepdad, an uncle, somebody who has filled in for that role. You're awesome. We appreciate you and we love you. And here's that poem, A Father's Power. And please enjoy it, and I'll see you back. Love you all. A father's power. How do we measure a father's power he has? Do we use stocks, bonds, or poker hands? Do we measure it by how many times he doesn't get drunk? Or do we measure it by how many times we think he gives a... How do we measure the power a father has? Do we use silver, diamonds, gold, or exotic glass? Do we measure it by the amount of education he has attained? Or do we measure it by the amount of how many times he never complained? How do we measure the power a father has? Do we use dollars, cents, or compare it to the octane in gas? Do we measure it by how many hugs he gives? Or do we measure it by the amount of times he forgives? How do we measure the power a father has? Do we use credit scores, life insurance policies, a dime of grass? Do we measure it by how many times he got hauled away in a black and white? Or do we measure it by how many times he made you feel wrong when you knew you were right? How do we measure the power a father has? Do we use birthday gifts or gifts from Christmas? Do we measure it by how many birthdays and Christmases he missed? Or do we measure it by the hate in my heart? 'Cause now I'm pissed. How do we measure the power a father has? Do we use nuclear, radiation, energy in grams? Or do we measure it by military, educational, or political salaries? Or do we measure it by taking control of our minds and memories? A father's power. You guys have a great Father's Day weekend. Enjoy it. Honor that awesome person that you honor and value, that gave that time and special moment for you as a father. I appreciate you, love you, and I'll see you back.